I think if you'd asked anybody who knew me, even one day before my YouTube channel went live, whether I would be the kind of person that would ever start a YouTube channel, every single person, including myself, would have said, no, no way. Too introverted, too quiet, too shy. I like to work on what I call long-term projects. These are standalone bodies of work which could, hopefully, be exhibited or published as a photo book, and that is the ultimate aim for each one of the projects. I currently have 10 on the go. 2 are pretty much complete and have already been exhibited several times. The others are at various stages of evolution. I find that working this way keeps things fresh and me motivated. It means I can return to the same location time and again, and each time come away with something different, because on that particular visit I'm concentrating on a particular aspect of the location for one project or another.
Hello and welcome back to the Landscape Lenscast podcast, and I am Alastair MacDonald. I'm hosting this one because our dear friend Paul has succumbed to E. coli. Now, you probably remember from a few weeks ago, it was in the news that lots of sandwiches from various retailers had E. coli, and Paul had a crunchy tuna sandwich. And as far as I'm concerned, if your tuna is crunchy, don't eat it. But he ate it, and he's not with us today. He's very, very unwell. So I'm running the show today. We've had a few hiccups already. Louise is going to join us very shortly. She had problems getting this to work for her. At the moment, I've got Douglas Milne as the only other regular, and we have John McKenna as our guest today. So John is a photographer and YouTuber, a fairly new YouTuber, I think. But let's just go into a bit of a background of John. John worked in the field of environmental chemistry for 36 years, where no two projects were ever the same. Nowadays, he continues this theme with his photography. His projects on show just now are threefold. One, The Road to the Isles, a collection of images taken along the route of the traditional song from Lochtummel westwards to Mallaig and the Hebrides beyond. His images cover some of the very best of Scotland's scenery, from desolate moorland, high mountain passes, tranquil lochs to unspoiled beaches. Another one of his projects is Transient Moments, Images of Impermanence. He describes this in 3 parts. Fleeting Shadows, where he explores ephemeral, ever-changing influences of shadows have on a scene. The beginning and endings of things, as in Hanami, the Japanese cherry blossom season, where the blossom is not the important element, but the fact that it is fleeting spectacle and an annual reminder of the transience of existence and a spur to seize the day. And then we have Moments in Time, difficult moments to be able to recreate, one-of-a-kind snapshots in time, by definition, transient moments. And then finally, he has switched to Monkland, the rebirth of a canal. During lockdown, John, like all of us, was restricted in how far he could travel. He found the old canal near his home. It was full of detritus of modern life, from traffic cones to shopping trolleys. It made for some interesting, if depressing, images. Others also saw that behind this superficial blight was the potential for something very special, and they set up a group called Friends of Monklands Canal. John was able to capture images of the progress from a blight on the landscape to a waterway visited by kingfishers, heron, water vole, sika deer, and anglers. A huge improvement in just a few short years. John prefers the term fine art photographer, but jokingly adds that he has the right to point his camera at anything that grabs his attention. Working over a wide range of subjects keeps things interesting, and he says the only constraints in his photography are to strive for improving quality and a desire to produce eye-catching, thought-provoking images. Welcome, John McKenna.
Thank you very much.
John, thank you for joining us today. Really, really, really appreciate it. And I'm going to throw the mic over to you, and I want to ask you, can you tell us about your path to photography and how did it develop over time to where you are now?
Certainly. It's something I've always been interested in. When I was 17 years old, which was a few weeks ago now, I had a a point in my life when I had a choice to make. I actually had an offer from Glasgow Art School to study photography, and I had an offer to go and do science at Glasgow University. And it was one of those decisions I had to make. Which route did I go down? And I guessed that it was probably easier to work as a scientist and have photography as a hobby than work as a photographer and do chemistry in my spare room. So I ended up taking the job in chemistry. But I was always a keen photographer. I used to do a lot of hill walking, things like that, and the camera always came with me when I was doing that. And slowly but surely, I realised I might have made the wrong decision with the chemistry. It took me 36 years, of course, but we got there eventually. And I'm at that stage now where I'm kind of slowly moving away from the chemistry side, and I'm trying to increase the amount of photography that I'm doing. And the YouTube thing with lockdown and all that was really the catalyst that spurred me on and gave me the confidence to give it a go.
That's cool. So are you still employed as a environmental chemist then, are you?
I am at the moment, yeah.
Yeah.
Self-employed actually. It's more in laboratory.
Right.
But I'm in the process of winding it up at the moment. So after 18 years, it'll be 18 years in August. So I decided that's enough of that. Time to do something different.
Yeah. Because you've got a studio that you work out of. Is it? Did it say it was in Finiston?
It is, yeah. It's just a little studio in the Hidden Lane. I don't know if you know that area in Glasgow, just
Not
just off of
very
Bell
well.
Street.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're able to do everything from portraiture to client-based projects, and
Yeah,
such and
to be
such.
honest, yeah. The reason I took it was it's actually in a great location for an exhibition space.
Ah,
And when I originally took it over, my plan was to use it as a studio whenever I needed it, but also to host my own and other people's exhibitions. Because in the area that I am, there are two, possibly three other galleries
right,
nearby.
right.
So there was a lot of footfall for that sort of thing. But then the pandemic came along and it all went a little bit pear-shaped. But
Yeah,
I still have it.
yeah. So is that when you picked up the video camera and started doing YouTube? Was it at the
It
pandemic?
was, yeah, it was entirely because of that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I had to, but like all of us, had to get out, had to explore the local area, which was not something that I was doing particularly often. Um, Prior to lockdown, I would just jump in the car at like it was all probably jump in the car at 3 in the morning and drive up to Skye and things like that. But
yeah,
suddenly being restricted, then you had to try and find something else.
yeah.
And I was lucky enough to find that canal.
Yeah, you drive up to Skye, and I know what that trip's like from this end of this side of the country, and it's maybe very similar for yourself. It takes a little bit of time. The roads are interesting.
Yeah.
It, your work that I see uh, is a lot in the West Coast, a lot of work. I take it that's your love of your area of love.
It is, yeah, yeah. Again, I think that probably stems from my hill walking. I used to do a lot of hill walking up the West Coast and run about sort of Central Highlands and stuff like that. Whereas I tended not to go to the East Coast too often. Obviously the Cairngorms every now and again, but
Yeah,
that was about it. So yeah, I tend to just gravitate towards the West Coast, I think.
yeah, yeah.
Um, which is odd
There's
because
a
I
lot there.
prefer. There is, yeah. There's a lot. Yeah,
Yeah.
you never run out of subjects. Yeah, but it's odd because I actually prefer sunrise to sunset when I'm doing photography. So you'd think I would go to the East Coast a lot more often, but for some reason I just head west when
You're doing
it's
well.
just one of those things.
Yeah.
How do you go about choosing your subjects, John?
I think probably I've got quite a number of kind of long-term projects on the go.
And so most of the subjects are in some way linked to one of those projects. And the YouTube videos just kind of tag on at the end of that. It kind of gives me more than one reason to be there, if you know what I mean. So I head there to do something for the project, but end up making a video at the same time when I can.
Multitasking, well done.
Yeah. And they said guys can't do that.
Yeah, John, for people who haven't caught up with you yet, because I realised we don't all watch the same videos, we won't all watch the same people. Your videos are very much concentrating, I would say, on the West Coast, so from Perthshire up through the West Coast. In fact, one of your projects was Perthshire up to Milne and onto the Outer Hebrides. What I found for myself is I found some really good tips within there, places to go. The big waterfall, was it Greymare's Tail up at Kinlochleven?
Mm-hmm.
That looked absolutely amazing. It's fantastic video they did there, sort of tips on that area. Really liked that one. And you did a video in the Milne area. It was more Sands of Mora. You were picking up exhibition items from Milne, I think it was. Mm-hmm. Was it Milne or was it?
I actually had two up that way. There was the main one was in Milne. It was on for about 6 months, but prior to that, I had the same exhibition on at Arisaig, and that was for about 3 months. So it would have been one of the two.
Yeah, because that was a really good video to watch. You took us in places that I'd seen from the bridge. It's in your video. You can see it in the bridge, and I'd seen from there, but I didn't see the walks, and now I know where to get to. So it's watching your videos is a really good way to actually see where some of these places are. The same as with Glencoe, with the Falls of Coe. I knew where they were, hadn't a clue how to get to them, then discovered there's this massive path between the two roads leading up to them. I thought, right, now I know what to look for next time I'm up there. So thanks very much for that.
Yeah, no problem.
And one of the key things I want to say about your videos is they're very, very easy to watch and relaxing. Your latest video at the time of recording has just dropped, the Lake of Menteith, and you say it's sort of sit back and relax and watch, so put your headphones on. But I find a lot of your videos are very much like that you can just relax into it. It's nice music playing. Pick your brains later, find out what the music is that you've got. It's really good. It's nice and relaxing. And for someone like myself with ME, it's much easier to watch than some of the fast-paced videos that are out there and lots of loud music. So I really enjoyed your videos.
Right. Thank you. Thank you.
And at that, I think it's time maybe that we will head on and have a look at some of the photographs that you've sent in to us to have a look at. So without further ado, I'll ask Louise to bring up the first of the images. Okay, we're at the first image, and it is an absolute belter. It really is. That is fantastic. And Dougie, I'm going to ask you, what do you want to say about this, or ask about this one?
Well, it's a lovely photograph, John, it has to be said. I actually know this quite well. I did a vlog from here myself while I was still vlogging. I don't vlog anymore. So this is the Falls of Acharn. It's not actually the falls. This is higher up, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
It's, up above Loch Tay near Kenmore. So, do you want to just tell us a wee bit about this picture? I mean, I know it was in one of your vlogs recently, but for anyone who's not seen it, tell us a bit about it.
Yeah, well, as you say, these are the upper falls on the Acharn, and basically this is shot from, there's a tiny little walkway, not really any wider than one person. So it was kind of shot against the clock, because when I arrived, there was quite a lot of visitors there, and they all left, and I ran down, set up the tripod, and grabbed maybe 3 or 4 shots, and had to move on again to let the next batch of people through. So it was a bit against the clock, which is why, now that I'm looking at it again, the movement in the leaves, etc., I would have probably tried to have rectified that if I had a little bit more time. But yeah, I like the overall composition. I like the leading line of the water coming through.
Stunning.
And thank you.
Do you have a preferred shutter speed for waterfalls? So that, because you've got quite a lot of detail in here, which is the way that I prefer. But do you have a go-to that if you're in a pressured situation like that, you go and do it? Do you have a chance to do others now as well?
Yeah, I would love to say yes to that, but I just wing it every time, to be brutally honest.
Fair play.
Yes. I think I normally, you would probably, I don't like that overly kind of milky appearance that you get, the one that I used to do many years ago. So I always try and retain some detail in there. And usually what I'll do is I'll take a relatively fast shot to begin with, and then slowly decrease the shot speed, make it slower, and stretch the water out. And those faster shots are where I can repaint in some of the detail if I need to. So most of these are blends of a longer exposure and a shorter exposure.
I was going to ask, that's my next question. You took it
Oh,
right.
sorry.
Don't worry. No,
you shouldn't have showed me the notes.
I haven't got to those questions yet.
All right.
No, it's for me, the detail that is in the bottom full there just is just a beautiful explosion that has just happened at the bottom of the screen. It's lovely, absolutely lovely.
That was my favourite part of that.
And in amongst those leaves, I'm sure I can see a Canon lens cap.
yeah, I was going to say that's the very spot where I lost my lens cap. One of those slow motion dives over the edge. I kind of turned my back to change lenses, and out the corner of my eye, I saw the tripod tipping over because it was so narrow, the walkway. I actually had the entire tripod was kind of tilted to one side to avoid the handrail, and it was just balancing and no more. And I guess I gust of wind or something like that. Could have been a midget, it could have been anything. It was right on the wire, and it just slowly but surely started to tilt. And I managed to grab it, but I grabbed it by the front of the lens, and the lens cap came spinning off and down to white.
Lucky it was just the cap and not the lens itself, to be fair.
Yeah. Well, I was probably lucky it wasn't me as well.
Well,
I think if the camera looked like it was going over, I was going over as well.
And actually, John, I'm the only Canon shooter here. So,
great stuff.
There's another one of us out there. Lovely, just beautiful shot.
Thank you.
So what I'd like to ask is, obviously I've watched the video, that's why I know about the lens cap. It looked like a bit of a hike to get up to there. My channel is accessible photography, and it's for people who can't really get out and about too much, maybe shoot just close to the car. What sort of hike up is that? Because you went up to the first falls and up to the second falls. How long would it take to walk up for an average person, do you think?
You can do it in about 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes. It's not particularly far. It is just a little bit steep at the start, I found.
Yeah.
And after having been sat in the car for whatever 2.5 hours, coming straight out, putting on a heavy camera bag, and then setting off straight up the hill, I found myself getting out of breath pretty quickly. Yeah. Which some of my viewers were kind enough to point out, actually, in messages.
They're so nice. They're so nice.
Yes. Yeah. Which, I mean, to be fair, I was very out of breath and quite out of shape. So,
Well, this is actually one of the things I was actually alluding to earlier about the things that we've learned from your videos. Is I didn't know about these falls. I'd never heard of them. I have no idea how. And I've been along Loch Tay so many times, and that north shore of Loch Tay, it's not very good, is it? It's a bit boring.
You've got sticks.
Sticks.
Yeah, you've got the car park basically opposite where this is, and you've got some sticks. It's an old pier that's basically.
Are you thinking of what was left of the Crannog after it burned down?
I may well be.
That's the south shore. That's the south shore at Canmore.
Yeah, it's the south shore. Yeah.
This is on the south shore as well, Alastair.
This is in the south shore.
Is it the south shore? Ah, right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's South Shore. I'm talking North Shore. I can tell you, Kenmore, round the north west of that there, car park there, great sticks. I'll send you some. I'll send
We'll
you
have to see.
messages
Yep,
sometime.
yep. We're
Live
learning.
north,
We're
Yeah.
learning. We're
whatever.
learning something from Louise here. Yep.
Worthing Rocks. I can tell you more about
Yeah.
Scotland.
Yeah. Well, I've got to look up these falls because they're absolutely spectacular.
Yeah.
Really something to see. And if people haven't watched your video on this, go to it now. It is well worth a watch.
Thank you.
Okay.
They're lovely in the autumn as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well worth a
don't.
visit in the autumn.
But I think it's probably
stunning.
better in the autumn than when was you were there? It would be about a month ago, maybe.
That was probably late April, beginning of May.
Yeah.
So it wasn't too long ago.
Mhm.
But yeah, the autumn is just
The autumn, because
spectacular.
the main falls, I think, they're surrounded by kind of foliage, isn't it? Aren't they? Because if you take them this time of year, it's just green. It's not very nice.
Yeah.
But the autumn, you get the various different colours, which is nice. It's lovely.
Watch out, boys! I'm coming up in autumn. Just to let you know. I do it. Can I do it up and down from the south coast in 2 days?
Yeah, easily.
No sleep.
Okay, I think we go onto the next slide.
We will. Love this. Love this.
Oh.
Full disclosure, I love it.
Louise, go ahead.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, the use of negative space, the softness of it, and yet your eye is drawn to the trees and the house itself, which just seems to be a kind of in sharp contrast. You've got that lovely little reflection at the bottom. Just love it. That wasn't a question, but just to let you know I love it.
Thanks
Is there
very
a
much.
question? You love it as well. There you go. Is that that's
Yeah.
a question? Sorry, it's
Yeah.
great.
I did actually have that on my business card for a while because I quite
Well,
liked it. Well,
Have you not got that on your website? Not that I've stalked you.
to be brutally honest, I can't remember.
Yes,
Possibly.
you have. Yes, you
Have I?
somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, that was an entirely accidental shot, if the truth be told.
And that makes me hate you.
No, I mean, I had no idea there was going to be any fog that morning. I just set out for sunrise. And this is Loch Achray and the Trossachs. And I parked at the end of the loch and kind of looking down the loch. And to be honest, I didn't think we were going to get much of a sunrise. And just shortly before the sun started to rise, this mist rolled in. And I managed, that's why we've got that lovely orange glow on the image, because the sun was literally just rising above the hills at that point.
Have you split toned as well to just bring that out, that warmth out?
I did do a little bit of sharpening for the foreground around about those houses, the house and the trees, but most of it is just as shot, to be honest. Obviously a little bit of saturation and contrast tweaking, but not an awful lot of processing to it at all.
So it's just one of those lovely, delightful shots, those rare ones where you just go, basically in camera, done.
I really, really keep meaning to get in touch with whoever lives in that house to see if they want to buy a copy of
Oh,
it.
God, that's a lot of money.
But I've never been brave enough to try that yet.
Yeah.
I'll do it for you. I'll do it.
She would too, John. She would.
I would.
You get a commission. Yeah. So yeah, that was it was one of a number. Obviously, this is long before I started vlogging. I probably would have liked to have vlogged that particular morning, but it was just one of quite a few. It was quite a productive morning.
You know what it reminds me of, or who it reminds me of, is John Constable.
Oh yeah.
Well, that painter guy, not photographer.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's just got those. It's got the warm tones and the softness of the fog and so forth. It reminds me of a picture of his of London, sort of the smokiness of London. Obviously, I think it had a bridge and the boat and so forth in it, but it was just that look about it. It was just, to me, it just jumps out as John Constable. Lovely.
Great. Thank you.
What kind of exposure time are you looking at there, John?
It wasn't particularly long. back then I had a very, very nasty habit of shooting handheld all the time. I used to tell myself it was because that was kind of more authentic, but it was actually just I used to get quite shy about setting up a tripod and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it would have. I think I probably did use a tripod on this occasion, but it would have been a relatively fast shutter speed.
Right.
Probably, I'm guessing somewhere around about maybe 100th of a second, something like that.
Right. That's
It
good.
really was.
You've got
The
there's a kind of blurriness about it in places, and the fog and whatnot, which makes it look like a longer exposure.
Yes, yeah. The loch itself really was that calm. There was, I do sometimes take long exposures, obviously, to smooth out ripples and waves and stuff like that. But on this occasion, it really was. It was like a sheet of glass, and it was just phenomenal. It was so quiet as well, and that's the thing I remember about it. It was just so quiet.
Well, I think the next image is another image where we have a loch looking like a sheet of glass, and that this one is taken in Loch Lomond.
It is indeed.
Balmaha, and it's one of my favourite places. I absolutely love it there, and I think Dougie's got something to ask her to say about this one.
More just the point of what time of year was it and stuff like that. I mean, it's a lovely shot of to Edgekyloch, I think, isn't it? That's the island there.
Yes, that's Edgekyloch, yeah. To be honest, I can't remember. I think it's probably June time, something like that. I did actually vlog this particular trip, so there is actually a video where I make this image. But yeah, it was another one of those things. I had a couple of hours to spare. It didn't look like it was going to be a particularly impressive sunset, in all honesty. But it's about an hour's drive from home. I felt as if I needed to get out and try and make a video. So I jumped there thinking, well, if there's a sunset, then I'm going to catch something here. And what happened was just one of the best sunsets I'd seen in a long, long time. And I think because it just kind of snuck up on us, it wasn't really, particularly dramatic day. I was the only person there shooting it. I got it all.
Is it a panorama taken with lots of pictures stitched together, or is it just one shot cropped down?
No, that's a panel, I think, of probably 3 shots. Again, at the time, I can't remember which particular lens I used. I bought a second-hand tilt shift lens, and I was going through a little panorama phase where I was using the shift part to create 3 images. I don't think I did that with this one, but it was something I was in the middle of doing. Was quite a lot of panoramas.
That's a cracking shot. I've taken a similar shot, but without that really fantastic sunset on it. And that's really what makes it, I think. That and the really still water. It's absolutely.
Somebody did actually ask me if that little, it looks like a letter J, doesn't it, above the island?
Yeah.
If I'd added that as some sort of watermark or something, but it was just how it happened. Yeah, I'm not copyright.
Is that just the sun poking through? No, the sun must be lower than that.
The sun's lower. I actually have no idea what that was. It just a little.
I thought it was lightning, but no, it's not.
No, I've no idea. But it shows in the video as well. If you look at the video, it's very obvious in the video.
I think it's just a lower strip of cloud that's not quite catching the reds yet. So it's just there, no more. It's almost like a vapor trail, but far too low. You just get those wispy clouds. I think that's what it is. So it's still catching the sunlight, but it's not catching the red of the light yet.
Love it.
I did like. Yeah.
It's so rare you get something it's so rare you get something that strong that it just stays with you for a long time. And when you do get something that strong, certainly I've only ever had 2 of these, and I feel myself defending them.
Yes.
People are like, no, it's blimmin' not. I've taken the tones down, and you just kind of think, thank God I had the camera there because you're going to see it, and you're going to see me get very excited. And just everyone, those lovely people that go AI instantly when you get something this
Yes.
crunchy to a certain extent, they don't kind of realise that actually you probably had to take this back a bit.
Yes, absolutely. It looked completely fake if you
It's
actually had to dial the
ridiculous, isn't it?
saturation down on that. Yeah. I've got another version of it where there was actually a couple standing on the little jetty,
On the pier.
but I think I prefer it without the people.
Nice.
Is it one of these floating pontoons by any chance?
I think it is. Yeah, I think that's where because there's a little ferry runs over to Inchcailloch, isn't there? And I don't know if it's all year or just in the summer, but I think that's where it leaves from.
It's not. It's further around the Balmaha itself.
Right.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
All right. So I have no idea what that is then. I just assumed that's what that was.
It's just a wee jetty. Have you been over to Inchcailloch, John?
No, which is why I know where the ferry doesn't leave from.
I know.
No, I've never been. It's always been on my to-do list, but I've never been. Have you been over?
Go in the kind of early summer, late spring, because that's when the bluebells are out, and the island is absolutely covered in them.
I did not know that. I'll do that.
Bluebells is beautiful.
Yes. Sounds like a team trip out there sometime.
Yes,
Hello.
We'll get a rowing boat and head over.
Lovely. Can I ask a question? Is that all right? This is absolutely nothing to do with anything, and then I will shut up for once in my life. This is one of my little list here. So, what is the most insightful advice that someone gave you on your journey to becoming a photographer that resonates with you still today, John? I probably should have told you that one in advance.
Sorry, do you mean in terms of taking an image, or just
Whatever
as in terms of being a photographer?
It could be about filming, it could be about photography, it could be anything that you just, every now and then, have in the back of your mind, you think, and you just kind of go back to. Lie if you need to. I'll nod.
I might have to. The one thing, it wasn't actually somebody that told me, it was a kind of realization that I came to. It was actually while I was doing the transient moments thing, and it was that if you shoot the difference, shoot the changes, the things that aren't always there, then you go back to a location time and time again. And so I always tend to concentrate on the transient things. So the weather, any wildlife that you see, the light, for instance, seasons, other people that are in the area. Those are the things that are different whenever you visit. So always try and concentrate on them. So, I've probably got 1,000,001 images, or the booklet of more, for instance, but by not actually concentrating on the mountain itself, but everything that's going on round about it, you can come away with something new every time.
It's almost a little bit like when you you go to a scene and you're so focused on something forwards, and you don't notice that little bit that's looking behind you. We've all said that the number of times we go home and we look at our videos just going, why did you not shoot that?
Yep.
You didn't see it because it's happening behind you.
Yep.
You're so effervescent, or whatever it is. Lovely.
Yeah. You can get caught up on things that aren't that important. You go to a certain place to photograph a certain thing, and you don't pay attention to what the weather's doing and where it's coming from and what's going to happen next. And you pack up and go away, and you look in the rearview mirror of the car, for example, and that's when the light's kicking off, and it's just stunning and fantastic, and you just weren't really paying attention to what was happening. So it's that sort of thing. That if you can capture that few minutes of light, like in this picture here, that's just what you really want. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Cracking. Shall I go to the next one?
Yeah.
Now, is there a little white house and a ruined castle to the dirt church to the left of this?
No, there is a little white house to the right of it, but I can't think. This is Camastarak Beach.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not
just no. So, and that's you're looking over to Egg and Rum. there. And again, that was another one where I was just lucky enough to be in the right place at the right time. There was a storm brewing, and so of course I decided to head to the beach the way you do. And yeah, the light was just spectacular. Again, not for a long time, probably 15, 20 minutes. The light was just unbelievable. And, you know, that kind of reddy, almost purple hue in the clouds was real again. That's all exactly how it looked. And yeah, just lucky enough to be in the right place.
It is a great image, and what you don't see is the fact it's literally peeing down as you're taking this. And I watched this video as well. And
oh, did you watch it?
yeah, you started off. You started off. This is where I was saying you came off to the Silver Sands of Morar, and I'd seen the bridge that had been on, looking over before behind it, and you walked down to the sands, and you got a fabulous double rainbow over the hotel opposite.
That's right.
That was a cracker, an absolute cracker. And it's one of those things that it happens to me more often on the West Coast than on the East Coast. I don't know what it is, but the number of times I've seen a double rainbow is usually when I've been over on the West Coast. So it was great to get. And then you came over to Camastarach Beach and got this view here, and it was raining quite heavily. And these are the times when I would probably be running for shelter and going for the car, but it's the times you should be out getting a photograph, because look at the sky, look at the drama that's in there. It's absolutely fantastic. You can literally see the rain down over past the islands there. It's just incredible.
Yeah, it was a beautiful evening.
It's a wonderful.
I think this might have been the stunning video as well, wasn't it?
This was a stunning count in the left-hand corner. Yes, I think you got to it.
I hadn't realised I'd been saying it. Yeah, it was just the first word that came to mind every time. I was running up and down that beach saying, "Oh, this is stunning! This is stunning!"
Yeah,
and it wasn't until I came to put the edit together that I realised I'd used it something like 15 times in 10 minutes. So I thought rather than delete it, I would just add a stunning count and roll with it.
I've done that myself. I've come home and discovered I've been using the same word a few times, so I'll just put a counter at the bottom and go with it. You have to do
I should really take a thesaurus out with me when I'm doing these things.
we all should. Especially when doing these videos, to be honest. But I'm looking at the composition here, and one of the things within the compositions is with water that move like a stream or a burn, is to have it coming from that bottom right-hand corner, and you've done that perfectly. It's coming in from that corner, moving out, and it not only just going into the sea, but there's that, you can see the color of it moving into the center of the image, and then you've got that drama in the image. So it's a really, really nice composition. And also the sandbanks themselves lead into the center as well. It's just perfect. It really is. Yeah, well positioned. And this is handheld as well. You're not using a tripod.
Yeah. This one's handheld.
Yeah. I did notice in your videos you actually talked about it was actually up at the Fort William, shooting the wreck at Corpac. You said your colleague was using a tripod, like the professionals using the tripod. You've indicated already you started off not using tripods, but you're using more now. We discussed the tripod, but you're quite happy to be out and about without a tripod, where a lot of us in landscape, it's like, oh, gotta have a tripod.
Yes, very much so. Yeah. I think that's I always say to people when they ask me, about starting the YouTube channel and is it a good idea and should they do it? That's been probably the biggest benefit to me personally. Starting the YouTube channel is it has given me a lot more confidence. Yeah. And just about, I think it was probably 3 or 4 days ago. It wasn't the Lake of Menteith video. It was another one. I actually found myself vlogging and talking to camera in front of other people, and that was the first time I've ever done that.
Yeah.
And I actually realised what I was doing after I was like 3 or 4 minutes into it, and I suddenly went, "Oh, what am I doing? What am I doing?" But continued on with it, and that's the first time it's happened. So.
Yeah. Because
Right, John.
you admitted you sent us a little video, and you admitted you're more of an introvert, and that people will be surprised to know that you were doing YouTube videos, or you'd be the last person they would have expected to do a YouTube video. But
absolutely,
doing the videos, it's fine, especially if you're on your own. And as you say, once you get that talking in front of people, it's hard to do. But once you do it, it's okay. Well, generally speaking, I think the first time I had to do it was at Queen's View at Loch Tummel, and I got there nice and early, and I thought, set myself up. But others got there early as well. It's not fair. How dare they? They're just looking at the view. I'm photographing it and filming. How dare they? So I had to do this piece I had to do this piece to camera with people around, and it's almost as bad as hosting this. It's really nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
You're doing all right.
I've just actually realised. So I've just realised that that's probably why I prefer sunrise to sunset, because there's usually a lot more people around at sunset.
I agree.
I've just realised that there.
There you go. Yeah.
We're pleased to have facilitated that realisation.
yes, thank you. Full credit will be given. Yeah.
Have you used a filter on, like a grad filter there, or is
no?
That's exactly
nothing at all.
Yeah,
nothing at all. It's like everybody. I shoot in RAW, so you tend to have quite a reasonable dynamic range, and you can pull the highlights back and brighten up the shadows quite well.
Yeah.
So it was single exposure.
Cool.
Nice. Shall I go on to the next one, Alastair?
Yeah, move on. Yeah. This is Loch Katrine.
Oh, yes.
Dougie, I think
Islands
you've got
Isle.
something.
This is absolutely beautiful. Another foggy morning, presumably, is it?
Yes, yeah. This one I was kind of planned to. There was fog forecast, so I headed up that way.
Right.
And I was just lucky that the fog was thick enough that as you probably all know, there's a lot of hills behind that island.
Oh yeah.
But thankfully, the fog just completely obscured it all, and I managed to snap that.
Yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous.
To the sound of thousands of geese.
Nice.
The audio was absolute nightmare on that video, because the geese were all in the island, and it was just
poking away. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Really. Yeah. I'm sure. I think I watched this video. It was a year ago, maybe 2.
It was a while ago now. Yeah.
I'm sure I watched it at the time. I didn't watch it again in research for this, unfortunately, but I remember being quite. It was one of the earliest viewers I think I watched.
I think I think it was. Yeah.
Have you been?
I think
twice. Have you done two videos from?
Yes, I was just about to say. I think this was as a response to an even earlier video, which was probably one of my earliest videos, but it got the biggest view count, and I thought, there must be something about Loch Katrine that people like, so I went back.
Yeah, it's a popular place, and for people who don't know, there's an old, is it a paddle steamer? Is that set in an old cruise type boat that goes up and down, plies up and down the loch? So it's worth visiting, even if you're not a photographer. Just get along and jump on the boat if you can. Personally, I've never seen it. The first time I saw it was on your video. I think it goes to the wrong place. I think I'm up at the other ends. And
it goes from one end to the other, Alastair. You've obviously just never been there.
Just never been at the right time.
Yeah.
Never been at the right time.
Yeah, I've never actually been on that boat. That's on my to-do list as well. I kept meaning
on mine too. I've seen it. I've never been on it.
Yeah, because you can get it up from the bottom end up to Stronachlacha, can't you? And then walk back if you're feeling energetic.
That's right. There's an old road, a single track road goes right along the north shore of the loch, and there's no traffic on it, so it's great for walking down.
Oh, that's good to know. For people who can walk.
One day.
Or people who don't know where I live, Alastair, I'm with you.
I'll let you carry on.
Marvellous, I'll start. Right, I have an editing question, John, because to me this almost looks like 2 seasons in one. because obviously you've got the harshness of the hoarfrost in the front, and you've got the kind of the light piercing into the background and kind of almost intimating spring there. Did you desaturate anything in the front, or and then kind of keep the backgrounds there? I'm just thinking whether or not you took any colour out at all. How the heck did you edit this shot?
The honest answer is no, I didn't do any of that. I did slightly saturate those trees in the background, but it really was that frosty. It was very, very cold that morning. And that what had happened was the sun had risen just off to the right of this image, and it was climbing over a hill, and where the sun was hitting the frost, it was obviously burning it off. And that's why that little section there is frost free, and the rest of it isn't. So yeah, it was just another one of those lucky to be there at the right time.
In which case, tell me that this was on a very long lens for that effective compression.
No. Can I also shock you even more? It wasn't even with a DSLR. This was shot on my very first ever digital camera, which was a kind of just a small 10 megapixel Olympus camera, and it was also shot as a JPEG. It wasn't even shot as RAW, so I was very, very limited with what I could do in terms of processing.
Well, the hoarfrost in this is absolutely what captures me, because we don't get anything like this down here. It's just the hoarfrost is beautiful.
Yeah, it was lovely. This is a place you guys will probably know it. It's Lianach, which is quite high up on the Duke's Pass at Aberfoyle.
Oh, yeah.
So it's quite high up, it's quite elevated, and I think that's why it had so much frost, because it wasn't particularly early in the morning. I think it was, well, obviously sunrise is a bit later in the winter anyway, but I think it was probably about 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning, and it just had this heavy frost overnight.
Well,
yeah, it needs that fog that you can see to be able to get that frost. You don't get the frost with the fog, and as far as I'm aware. So that's that fog's disappeared. It's left the moisture on getting frozen. That's just lovely.
We've had fog in a few of these pictures, John. Do you have a particular affinity with it, or is it just
no?
Again,
when I was looking through my images to try and find some photographs they sent to you guys, I noticed there was fog appearing in an alarming number of them, and also trees, and also water. And I'd never really realised I was being drawn to those particular subjects, but a significant number of my photographs involve one or all of those subjects.
Nice.
Wasn't a conscious decision.
It's an absolutely beautiful picture. The detail you've got in the trees at the front, and the wood, what you've caught with the frost, bringing the detail out is superb.
For me, it's what I'm perceiving as the seasonal juxtaposition. I know it's not, as it turns out, but yeah, it's all right.
It's one of those ones I'd love to go back now with a DSLR and
camera.
and actually take the image right. Because this really was just a handheld snap in JPEG with a 10 megapixel camera. So. The
frustrating thing when you do that is you go back and you take a shot like that and you think, I've not done it as well as I did it before.
Yeah,
you never get one as good as you got before.
Exactly. And I guess if anything, it just proves that it's not really about the equipment, isn't it? No, it's just your luck and what's going on around about you.
Yep. And the chances, we were talking about this earlier, about the fact that it's a snapshot in time, and getting the exact same conditions again, it may never happen. Yeah. It looks like the trees have got the hoarfrost on it because of the fog. The trees that aren't in fog aren't frosted, are possibly because they were sticking outside the fog, or the sunshine's actually melted it very quickly. And getting it to do it again, you may never get it. So you can go up every day in winter and just wish, and it may never happen. But it is incredible. But when I first looked at it, it was like, oh yeah, he's got some bushes in the foreground. Then you realise actually those bushes are silver birch trees. It's just the scale was difficult to get my head round initially, and then once you realise they're massive trees that are at the side there, and it's fir trees in the foreground and then big it's just amazing, this one. I love this image, I really do.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks.
Nice.
Okay, I think we can move on to the next one, which is one of my favorite places. John, tell us where this is.
This is Lochard on the way down from Kinlochard, just a mile south of Kinlochard.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid to say this is another one. I was actually up shooting sunrise at Stronachlachen, actually, we were just discussing.
Yeah.
And I packed up and started to head back when I noticed that the mist was rising on Lochard, and just pulled the car over and snapped up, moved on. Just
Can I just say, I'm beginning to dislike you more and more.
Yeah. Can also say I'm not that lucky when it comes to the lottery or anything like that. It just seems to be the camera.
Just 4 lucky shots in the last 10 years. We've all been there.
I think I really annoyed. There was 2 very serious looking photographers at the loch side, and they had the cameras set up and they looked as if they'd been there for quite a while. So when I pulled up the car, jumped out, snapped that and jumped in again and drove off. They didn't look too impressed.
Is this handheld again then?
Yeah.
Oh.
It is nice, and that light, I've had that same light, and it in the same place. It's amazing. It just seems to catch it. The shape of the terrain seems to catch the sun just coming down and lighting up the trees in that area. It is really, really nice.
Yeah, because there's some narrows, isn't there, off to the left?
Yeah.
And I think that's what it is. If you get the sun coming down the narrows, then it does form a very, very narrow band of light.
It's like a beam of sunlight onto the woodland, and it's not an island, that one, is it, or is it?
I think that's part of the
main,
the other side of the
shore.
Headland, isn't it?
Yeah. And it just catches that, and it just stands out against everything else. Yeah. Yep. There's a few famous shots from Lochard, and you've actually been able to give us another image, which isn't the honeypot location, and it's a nice image.
Absolutely. I do love all the dark in the background. You know, that's a wall of trees, if I recall. It's going up the hill there, isn't it?
It is.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, and it's completely dark with the juxtaposition of the light on the trees in the foreground. It really makes it stand out. It's fantastic. Excellent image.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And is it still?
And more to the point, you've made Dougie and I use the word juxtaposition.
Your turn, Alastair.
I've done that before.
I don't know what it means.
Crikey, you sound like the people I live near. Hopefully they don't watch this because I'm in such trouble.
I do, yes. But
just for the record.
Yeah, and this area here that's still the Trossachs, isn't it? If I remember correctly, for people who don't know, so I guide them in the right area. So up towards Stirling, hang a left, and head in that roughly. I can't remember exactly how you get to there now. We've done it a few times, but I can't remember.
Go through Aberfoyle and keep going towards. I can't remember the name place in Loch Lomond, but yeah, just keep going along that road.
Yes, it's up through Aberfoyle up towards Kinlochard.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the picture that you had a moment ago from Duke's Pass, that's in the same sort of area. So you come back from there and you can go up over Duke's Pass, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. You come to, there's a very tight bend, isn't there, at Aberfoyle? If you go straight on, it brings you to Lochard. If you follow the road and go up the hill, it takes you to Liana. Yeah.
Yep.
And for those that needed subtitles for the entirety of that conversation, it's about 12 hours worth of worthing.
Actually, can I just say that I was actually quite shocked when I had a look at my YouTube stats quite recently and discovered that something like 25% of people watching my videos watch them with subtitles on, but the subtitles are English.
Absolutely, because they're either at work and they're not supposed to be watching. I've got exactly the same. And they're not supposed to be watching, or and interestingly, the number of people, have a look at them if you can find out how many of them watch you on a television screen.
Yes.
Which I was shocked by. So about 20% of mine kind of do on a television screen, only because we've asked, and my photo buddy does as well. And I thought that was quite a lot. Now I'm looking at the quality of some of my shots thinking, crikey, what does that look on a 6-foot screen?
It has to, because, yeah, I'm exactly the same. I do virtually 90% of my YouTube watching on the TV.
Yeah, I'm the same.
Really?
Pretty much all of mine is on the TV. Yeah.
Yeah, 55-inch. Yeah, 55-inch OLED TV. It's got to be a good image, or it's just like, nah.
That's actually quite terrifying. Now I think I've never watched it on TV.
Isn't it?
So you're 10 megapixel shot there, John.
Yeah, it probably looks like it's been shot through a box of cornflakes or something. Yeah, I did have somebody tell me recently that they do watch my videos on TV, but they find that when they're looking at their own, the colours are different on TV compared to on laptops and things like that. So it's trying to find.
They can. The screens change. To be honest, I've got a brand new laptop sitting over there, and it's linked into a screen that I use for my work here, so I don't have to use the big Mac behind me. And the two images are different colours.
Really?
And the image we had at I can't remember where it was now. Just two ticks accurate, and he said it was nice and orange light, and that mist with the house. On the laptop, it was just like fog. It was grey.
Yeah.
Really?
It was grey. Wow. So what I've done is, from a friend in my club, I've borrowed one of these, the Spider.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I've got one of them. Yeah.
I've got to see if I can get that screen to be the same. And this is something that I've thought, or realized in the past as well, is you create an image and you see it as being really good. I mean, that iMac, the image quality is fantastic. And then you put it out onto something else, and it could be somebody's phone, it could be a laptop, it could be a TV, and they could all be different. And they all see it. They all see it just slightly differently. So if you get a negative comment from someone, it could be because they've got a crappy screen.
Or
I like that. It's their fault, not mine. I like that.
Or on the old Mackie jobbies, or you've got your screen too bright. So when you actually see it on something else, it's really top notch on your screen. You put it on Facebook, you put it on Instagram, whatever it is you want to put it on, and it just looks really dark.
Yeah.
So I have two versions now, and I kind of wallop them kind of into something that kind of go and check them on different devices. And I've realised that because my screen on this is quite bright, that I have to be quite careful. And also when you do the spider bit, you need to make sure you haven't got, you've kind of got a certain light in your room. Because otherwise it kind of calibrates.
Yeah, that can affect the calibration,
So you put all the lights out and just try it that way.
Yeah, I have to. So at the moment, if I open my curtains, I've been a floodlight at the moment because I'm facing west.
Yeah.
And I can't calibrate it at all with that. So I have to pull curtains across and all that kind of wallop. But it is really quite interesting. For me, it's the brightness and the difference of the monitors compared with the television, compared with my phone, all that kind of stuff. So I have to check it on here because everything looks darker on here. And if it's looking darker on here, it probably means that most people are experiencing something darker.
Yeah. Okay, it's good to know. It's a good learning piece, that as well. And it's the same for printing, that you take an image off a bright screen, you print it, you go, that's a bit mushy. Yeah. So it's learning that difference.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'll pop the next one on.
Yeah, go on.
Boom.
Oh,
beautiful.
Now I know where that is. I didn't even need to get the name up on screen. That is Loch
Loch Bar, I was going to say
on,
Loch
on
Bar.
Yeah.
at
It is indeed.
Rannoch Moor, or on the edges of Rannoch Moor, on the way to Glencoe. And strangely, in your photograph, it's not frozen over. The number of times I've seen this picture of this area, and it's completely frozen over, but you've got it at a different time of year, and it's reflecting beautifully that sky. So I'm thinking that's sunrise again.
Sunset.
No, it's sunrise.
Is
It's
it?
Sunrise, yeah.
Yeah, that's
the opposite
looking
way.
east.
It's
looking east towards Loch Rannoch and Schiehallion and all that.
Because Loch Ba is on, the proper Loch Ba is on, if you're heading into Glencoe, it's on the right-hand side.
Ah.
I can't remember, what's the one on the left-hand side as you going?
Oh, none of us are going to try and say it, are we? Is it Loch and Achilles or something like that, isn't it?
Something like that, yes.
Loch and Eyes,
yeah, it's something like that.
I can see it in the book.
It's a 20-pointer in Scrabble.
Later. Yeah. But yeah, Loch Ba is much easier to say.
It is, yes, and spell.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was another example of how things were before lockdowns and things like that. I had literally just dropped some people off at Glasgow Airport and decided I'm going to go up to Glencoe with my camera.
Wow.
And I just drove and
just a wee bit, yeah. Glasgow Airport to Finnissen. Oh, via Glencoe, okay,
yeah. So and it again just got there in time for an amazing sunrise.
Yeah.
I'd love to see I planned that little island to be right in front of the sun, but again, that was just another look.
If you say this is handheld, I'm leaving now.
No, that one's definitely not handheld. No, no, definitely not handheld. But again, yeah, shot and raw. One single shot though, so there's a wee bit of dodge and bum and all that to try and bring out some of the details in those rocks and in the foreground headland. And that was about.
Isn't it interesting how precious those one-shot photos are?
Yeah.
One gone.
Yeah.
And you just think, if I lose that shot anywhere, I've got sort of one or two that are just copied all over the place. If I lose it, I would just be mortified. If anything happened to my drives or whatever.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
I'm looking
this was one of those
ones. The sky is fascinating
again.
because there's a kind of spiral going on up there, isn't there? Almost.
Yes, yeah. I think the way the sun was just hitting the underside of those clouds was just incredible, and that really didn't last very long at all. We were talking a couple of minutes, and then that was gone, and the sun had come up, and the whole thing was just bright.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Very fortunate again.
Yeah.
It is good. And are you in the water for that one? Because it looks very close.
No. Yeah.
Didn't need to get in the water for that one. Okay.
Yeah.
Very nearly, but yeah, no. I was just at the edge. There's a little boathouse. I don't know if you know the little boathouse that's just off as you go round the loch. I wasn't too far from there.
Mm-hmm.
You should have said yes, man. I was up to my chest. I got my waders on.
No. It's a very shallow. It's a very shallow loch.
It is a very shallow loch. Yeah.
It is. Yeah. Somebody told me you can. It doesn't get any deeper than about 3 feet, but I didn't really want to check that, to be honest, because I can't swim.
No. Yeah. And I've just checked the other loch. Is looking Elise. Yeah. Nobody wants to pronounce that. Looking Achilles. There you go. Looking at Achilles.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I said it, so that's it. Yeah.
Nice. cracking shot. I'm going to come off that now, so I'm going to stop sharing. Can I ask my second question?
Can indeed.
I've given him fair warning, to be fair.
Right,
John. This is my spur of the moment question. You have no idea what it is. Has anybody inspired you in the realm of photography that caused you to take your craft in a different direction, even temporarily?
Yes, I'm thinking yes. No, I absolutely love the work of Michael Kenna, and I think kind of inspired by his stuff. I've found myself trying to take a lot more kind of minimalist type work. And I've been lucky enough, I go to Japan every year, and he loves Japan as well. And some of his photographs from Japan are incredible. And anytime I'm there, I'll always try to replicate what he does. Never managed it yet. But yeah, I think he's just incredible. I've got a number of his books in next door.
That's good. That's good.
Have you got time for a quick story about Michael Kenna?
Do it.
This is
Yeah, go ahead.
I was in Glasgow one day. It was a Sunday afternoon, and I passed an old second-hand bookstore, and they had one of Michael Kenna's books in the window, but the store was closed. So I was really keen to get this book. So I got home and emailed the store and asked if they could put it to one side for me, and gave them a date when I'd come back for it, etc. And when I went back, you know that old Yellow Pages advert where it's the guy's looking for the fly fishing thing? Yeah, it was one of them. They actually thought, they saw the name M. Kenna and thought it was my own book. I thought, oh, if only. So, yeah, I think they thought Michael was coming in to buy his own book back. But, so I had to reassure them I wasn't him.
Just a similar name. Yeah. So, John, you said you've been out to Japan, and you run trips out to Japan for people, don't you? You've got photographic.
I'm looking at starting to do some photographic tours. Yeah, I've not actually done any yet. I run a monthly newsletter, and I've kind of put it out to see if anybody was interested. And I've had one or two people come back to say they might want to go. I thought I've been lucky enough. I think it's 9 times now I've been. So I know the parts that I'll be going to fairly well now. I made a point of going in every season. So I thought I'd share that knowledge, but it's harder to organise than I thought it was going to be.
So when's the trip planned for then?
Well, nothing's been arranged as yet. I was last there in late November, early December of 2020. What's this? 23. Yeah, a few months ago. And the colours and the trees and stuff like that were just spectacular then. So ideally, I'd like to go back about then. But as I say, nothing's been planned or booked yet. So it was really more a case of, was there an interest in it?
Yeah. So if anyone's interested, head along to John's website. We'll have a link in the description below, and click on, I think you've got a link there for your, what do you call it? Oh, it's gone out my head. What did
Newsletter?
Newsletter, that's the word.
Yes, there will be.
See my head at times, things just pop out all over the place. So yeah, see if you can link into the newsletter, and if you're interested in going to Japan with John, then I think it sounds like a good one to do. John has a lot of experience there, as you just said. So have a mosey along there and see.
You've got an exhibition coming up as well, John.
I was going to say, somebody told me, I think it might have been David, to be fair. You've got an exhibition coming up. So
yes, yeah. The transient moments thing, that's actually a Japanese-based project. So all the images have been taken in Japan over the years. It's black and white, and it's all about impermanence, all that sort of stuff. And there's a place down in the Borders near New Abbey, Shumbelly House. I don't know if you've come across this yet. It's actually a very good resource for photographers, so you might all want to take a wee note of this. They've got some great exhibition spaces, gallery spaces. They've got a digital suite for editing. They've got an old traditional darkroom and enlargers and all that sort of stuff as well. And they're keen to promote themselves as a place for workshops and tutorials as well. So well worth getting in touch with them. But they're hosting a Japanese festival at the end of August, and I'm putting my exhibition up for the festival, which it's only a weekend thing, but then they've allowed me to keep the exhibition up for another 2 weeks afterwards. So it should be on the wall from, I think it's the 24th of August to September the 8th.
Okay.
If this is going out before then come
Yeah,
along and see it.
Hope so.
We believe it is.
Yeah.
Should be, yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Indeed.
Oh yeah.
Well, good
But
luck.
yeah, no, it's a great great facility. I was actually down there this week having a look at it for the first time, and they've got a lot of plans. They've got big plans. They've got some studio space there as well. So it's a great. They're trying to develop it as an artistic hub. So they're painting and sculpture and pottery and jewellery making as well, but they're really keen to push the photography thing.
Nice.
So worth having in mind if anybody wants to put on an exhibition.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll stick a link for that in the
workshop.
description as well, maybe.
Yeah, we'll
Yes,
see
yeah.
what we can
Exactly
do.
that. Stick it in there. And if they
Yeah.
want somebody from Worthing, I'm your girl.
Yeah. Of course, landscape photographer of the year, Louise. You know, you got that in your that feather in your cap.
Be fair, I'm not landscape photographer of the year. I got a commended and a highly commended. That's very different from being
No, that's very good.
landscape photographer of the year. It's like proper different league. I'm down here, he's up there.
Because you had a picture picked up
Still in the
by Photographic Society, John, didn't you?
Yeah,
what group was it?
they did. Yeah, that was at Akan. Yeah, that was. They used it in some of the promotional materials, free of charge, if I remember. But we'll not go into that. But they did ask permission, so you can't really complain. But yeah, they used it in a promotional thing. I think they produced them as kind of postcards, which went out to all the members.
Yeah, that was nice. If I remember, it was sort of a hill with a lone tree type thing.
Yes,
was it? Something like that. And the moon.
Yeah, it's about 5 minutes walk from that first image we looked at where the waterfall is. Just shortly after that, the path kind of loops round the top of the waterfall and back down again. But if you go off the side, a little bit of a tangent, it takes you slightly further up the hill. And there was the little lone tree in the moon. Again,
fantastic.
A lucky one.
Yeah. So if people want to watch it, you got go and look at the video about that waterfall, and you'll see that picture that was picked up, and nothing to do with the waterfall at all.
No water was involved, other than the cloud, I guess.
Yeah. Well, that was great, John. I've really enjoyed having a chat. Really did. I think the others did as well. And it's a shame that everybody else on the cast was busy doing their own things this weekend, with various instructions and so forth. So if we had the opportunity, would you be willing to come on again and maybe chat to some of the other team?
Absolutely, yeah. Be delighted to.
Be fantastic, and hopefully we'll have the right software running and things won't be quite so busy. People watching this will probably not notice anything. We're on the third recording now. It's taken 3 times as long as we wanted, but we're getting there now. This is it. We're doing well, I think, considering everything, and certainly I know he's going to be well by this time, but Paul, get well soon. We miss you, and I think Paul's missed out on this one. This has been a really good.
I love this.
Yeah, it's been
a really good podcast. Yeah. So thank you very much, John. I'm going to ask my team if there's anything they want to say before we wrap up, and anything I maybe forgotten to say before we wrap up.
No, I think we're all okay. Thank you. Well, sorry, Doug, I spoke for you there, didn't I?
No, we're fine. Fine from this end, fine from Louise's end of the country.
Yeah, it's a bit Scottish heavy, this one, isn't it? Yeah.
I know, I feel I'm defending England here.
Yeah, and I forgot to say, isn't it wonderful how far Scotland got in the Euros, isn't it? Whoa!
I can't believe we won it.
I know, it's just lose the first match, win the whole thing, just like Argentina.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
We did so well, they gave us the World Cup after it as well.
Yes, Scotland 24 forevermore. Yeah. And the other take is, well, we didn't really expect Scotland to stay in the Euros very long, did we now?
No, just add which one you want.
Nutters! You're all nutters. Tired.
And for the audience, it says the first match was it 2 nights ago now? Yeah, Friday night. This is
Yes,
the Sunday. So yeah, Scotland got gubbed. As
Just
we
a little
say.
bit embarrassing.
and it still hurts.
Yeah.
I've not been able to look at a German beer since.
Crikey. Right.
Yeah. Okay. I think we'll wrap up now. Thank you very much, John, for joining us. Thank you, Louise. Thank you, Dougie. And we shall see you in the next podcast. Thank you very much. Bye for now.
Thank you. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.